It's Thursday, January 30th.
The focus now is rescuing people.
Tragedy over the Potomac. 67 people are feared dead after a passenger plane and an Army Black Hawk helicopter crashed in midair near Washington.
We were led to believe that if appropriate actions were taken, then the tariffs could be avoided.
Running out of time. With Donald Trump's 25% tariffs possibly coming Saturday, the Prime Minister has told premiers there is still hope they can be stopped with action at our borders.
Let's get it, Tyler!
And a devastating loss. A Toronto teen in Philadelphia has died from his injuries after a fall while celebrating the Eagles' win on Sunday. His community north of the border now sharing their memories of Tyler Sabathie.
It sucks.
I think it's due. I think we had a pretty mild January, so it's kind of nice to have.
And time to clean up. The Halifax area getting walloped with a snowstorm, causing delays on the roads, at airports, and some schools. Well, they're closed today as they try to dig out. Stay with us, Canada. Your morning starts right now. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Your Morning. I'm Anne-Marie Mediwake.
Good morning. I'm Lindsey Deluce.
And good morning. I'm Winston C. in for Kelsey today. We hope your Thursday is off to a good start.
Terrible news to wake up to this morning. I'm getting everybody up to date on what's been happening south of the border. An American Airlines flight and Black Hawk helicopter have crashed midair near Washington. And after a night of searching, no survivors have been found so far. This is footage from EarthCam. It shows the moment right before the two aircraft collided midair. This happened at around 9 p.m. last night. And now I'm going to play for you what it sounded like from air traffic control around that time.
Did you see that? X472. American 3130, go around, turn left in 250, climb maintain 3000.
Air traffic control was heard asking, did you see that? The American Airlines flight was carrying 64 people. It was coming from Wichita, Kansas. The model is Canadair Regional Jet 700. It was built in Canada by Bombardier. There were 3 soldiers on board the U.S. Army helicopter. About 300 responders are working through freezing conditions right now looking for survivors.
So certainly I speak for the people of Washington, 700,000 of us who are extremely sorry for the families who are experiencing loss.
So here's what we know so far. There were 60 passengers and 4 crew members on board the American Airlines flight. Russian media is reporting 2 world champion skaters were on board that flight. U.S. figure skating also confirming there were skaters, coaches, and families coming home from a training camp. We are learning the Black Hawk helicopter was on a training flight at the time of the crash. U.S. President Donald Trump has been briefed. And Prime Minister Trudeau has responded online in a post saying, quote, we are all extremely concerned about the accident at Reagan National Airport. As we wait for more details, my thoughts are with those on board, their loved ones, and the first responders right now. We, of course, will be following this closely all morning long. In other news, Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly is in Washington meeting with American officials trying to navigate the threat of Donald Trump's 25% tariffs.
The ultimate decision maker is President Trump. So I'm staying until Friday here in Washington, making sure that I'm meeting as many people as possible.
As of this morning, Donald Trump's tariffs are expected to take effect on Saturday. Howard Lutnick is Donald Trump's pick to lead the Commerce Department, and at his confirmation hearing Wednesday, he said the tariffs could still be avoided with a, quote, satisfactory border security plan. But he also said more tariffs could come in the spring. The U.S. has repeatedly accused Canada of allowing a flow of illegal immigrants and fentanyl across the border. The Prime Minister did confirm to Premiers Wednesday that we are facing 2 phases of U.S. trade action, adding there is still time to stop Saturday's planned tariffs. So how the U.S. tariff situation plays out will affect how the Bank of Canada handles future rate decisions.
U.S. trade policy is a major source of uncertainty.
The central bank cut its key lending rate for the 6th straight time yesterday. Now it's down to 3%. Governor Tiff Macklem isn't ruling out more cuts, but he has said he wants to wait to see if the U.S. follows through with tariffs. And that will dictate, how everybody responds, how it all affects our economy, how Ottawa responds to those potential tariffs. Overall, Tiff Macklem says Canada's economy is in a good spot, with inflation close to the bank's 2% target. Quebec's government is expected to table a new bill today meant to define a new integration model for immigrants.
They are welcome here, but they must embrace this culture and then contribute.
Immigration and French language minister Jean-François Roberge is calling it a, quote, social contract, describing it as Quebec's own integration model for immigrants. He says the model favors interculturalism rather than Canada's model of multiculturalism. Details of the bill have not been shared. Quebec's government, though, facing a lot of criticism for pausing support measures intended for immigrant and Indigenous students, which includes money for cultural integration. There is mourning in Canada as well as south of the border after a Toronto teen died from his injuries after falling from a light pole while celebrating the Philadelphia Eagles' big win on Sunday.
Celebrating that night was great, but obviously the next morning hearing about it was definitely sad, devastating.
18-year-old Tyler Sabapathy was attending Temple University on an athletic scholarship as a gymnast. He was also studying exercise and sports science. He graduated from Toronto's St. Michael's College School last year. During his athletic career here in Canada, he won more than 120 medals in provincial, regional, and international competitions. In a statement, his old club, East York Gymnastics, called him a, quote, role model, a true leader. Meanwhile, in Philadelphia, authorities are trying to warn others about the dangers of climbing poles and structures, especially with a potential Super Bowl celebration a little more than a week away. Eastern Nova Scotia could see some flurries this morning as the region cleans up after a major snowfall.
This is about right for January. This is the life here. We know Halifax weather changing every day.
The Halifax area hasn't seen much snow over the past few weeks, but look at this now. Drivers are being reminded, obviously, be careful. There could still be periods of blowing snow today. Most schools across Nova Scotia also affected by the snow. Some boards called a snow day. Others let students out early. Some schools are still closed today. Some will start a little bit later, so check with that. Several flights also delayed by all the snow yesterday, but today we looked. Most flights are now showing on time at the Halifax airport. To say Jeremy Lynch is committed to the sport of wrestling is an understatement.
This is where I sleep because if I'm doing a morning workout, I wake up at 6 and I want to be able to train right away.
Wow. This is the 15-year-old. He's already has a national wrestling champion. He's looking for his next piece of hardware. Right now, he's trying to raise enough money to get to Europe's largest wrestling tournament in Estonia. He's got a GoFundMe. He does odd jobs for neighbors. Good for him. This is what you call ambition and drive, everybody. He's also doing really well in his community. He's selling handcrafted greeting cards.
Oh, those are
donating
nice.
that money to charity. Wow. All of this in the name of reaching his biggest goal. He wants to win an Olympic gold medal for Canada.